What is going on, beautiful people? My name is Betsam, and this is going to be the UFC 321 Abu Dhabi full card breakdown and prediction for Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. We're going to start at the bottom of the card, work our way to the top, and this time I'm putting the timestamps in there, so I don't want to hear you complain about it in the comment section. First fight of the night, let's go. It's going to be Jaqueline Amorim taking on Mizuki, and this is a matchup, guys, taking place in the women's strawweight division. And I will say that this seems like an absolute layup spot. Mizuki only has one win in the past 5 years. It's Hannah Goldie. If you guys are not familiar with the sport, Hannah Goldie is essentially just an OnlyFans model at this point. Despite having incredibly jacked biceps and a physique that you might assume is going to be of that of an aggressive wrestler that's going to have success in a fight, she is actually just terrible. And you watch that fight with Mizuki, it was back and forth and competitive, but the likes of a Hannah Goldie is significantly below what we can expect from Jaqueline Amorim, whose only loss comes to a respectable fighter in Sam Hughes in what played out as a relatively competitive fight as well. I'm going to take Jaqueline Amorim here, and I think that regardless of what the betting odd is here, I think she runs away with this. Mizuki not only has been on a tremendously long layoff, she actually comes into this looking like she has less physical muscle than has previously displayed. You can see the physique of Mizuki here. It seems like perhaps she hasn't been taking her training as seriously. Perhaps she hasn't been dieting as much. I honestly am starting to wonder whether or not she's actually been training full-time or not. You look through her Instagram there's a bunch of random posts throughout there, not so much training stuff, and not everybody is active on social media. But Jaqueline Amorim's coming in this, looks physically great. Weigh-ins just took place. I'm going to say Jaqueline Amorim runs away with it here. And even if she doesn't find a finish, I expect her to win every single round. So I'm going to take Jaqueline Amorim to just go out here and smoke. Moving on to the second fight of the night, we have Azar Maksum taking on Mitch Raposo. And despite being late to upload this week, I will say the benefit is I have just watched all of the weigh-ins. And Azar Maksum came in at 129 pounds. If you guys don't know, the flyweight limit is 126 outside of championship fights, which would be 125.5, meaning that he has missed weight by 3 pounds. Now, at the time of recording this, I'm unsure if the fight is going to go ahead or if they're going to scrap the bout. I assume they will just make it a catchweight bout or make it, a fine to the purse of Azar Maksum for 20 or 30% of whatever it is. I'm going to assume the fight goes on, and I'm assuming he's going to continue to fight as normal. He looked healthy. He just looked like perhaps he had misjudged the weight cut. And in fact, he didn't say anything to my knowledge, but he kind of looked a little bit confused, like maybe he'd checked some scales in the bedroom or something, and he'd been on weight, or his coaches had told him he was going to make weight and then didn't. So I don't know what happened with Azar Maksum there, but I'm assuming he's happy and healthy and ready to go here. And he looked physically good, didn't look particularly drained, didn't look like he tried his best, but, couldn't just get those extra few pounds off. So I'm going to say Azar Maksum is a confident favorite here. In this matchup against Mitch Raposo is honestly a bit of a DNB, bit of a do-nothing bitch, he goes out there, shoots takedowns and empty feints, doesn't exactly look to put hands on people. I have no idea how this man won 9 professional fights, to be quite honest with you. Azar Maksum, on the other hand, has looked very, very competent in many aspects of MMA. He's a Kazakhstan fighter that is going to come in here and bring the action, bring the heat. And I could see him knocking out Mitch Raposo after he denies him a few of those takedowns. So I'm going to take Azar Maksum here. Another quite confident favorite to start the night off. So it's quite good when you've got a few potential parlay builders that you can, line your pockets with early in a card. If you're betting for fun, maybe you're a guy that just bets with 50, 60 bucks or something a week, and you just, throwing down a few dollars early on. You can build that up to something early on in this card, because I think Azar Maksum and Jaqueline Amorim, parlay them together, get some early success, get yourself feeling good in this early Abu Dhabi card. We're going to move up the line here. We have Hamdy Abdelwahab taking on Chris Barnett. And guys, I come to you with this prediction with a bit of a heavy heart. And what I mean by that is Hamdy Abdelwahab is actually leg 1 of Slam of the Week. I picked him in Jalta and Almeida, if you guys don't know, to be a 2-leg Slam of the Week. And Hamdy Abdelwahab, I thought he was going to come in here looking a little bit of a better physique than I just saw him weighing at. The guy's got sagging man titties here. He came in here, obviously in better shape than Chris Barnett, but I honestly don't know if I can fully trust the work that Hamdy Abdelwahab is getting in there, at least from a nutrition standpoint. The guy doesn't look it, man. Listen, this might come as a stupid statement for myself, but I'm 30 years old, almost 31 years old, I don't do any form of professional training. I look better than these guys with the shirt off. You know what I mean? Like the muscle tone that I have is better than a Hamdy Abdelwahab. We're similar sized individuals. I have no idea how these guys' jobs are being professional fighters, and they come out here looking like an absolute blob of toothpaste. It's just slopped out of there, you know, like a half-baked potato, you know. Chris Barnett is absolutely disgraceful, but Hamdy Abdelwahab has let me down, I believe, just in the way that he's turned up here and you know, not exactly look like he's putting in the work in the training room. And you guys might think you're being overly critical here, but I'm telling you right now, if you're out here grinding, you know, and you're training, and you know, and not just saying, "Oh, I'm training," you're turning up and you're putting in the work there, and you're eating good fuel, your body will transform. And there are other fighters later on in the card that are actually indicators of that. Valter Walker is a prime example of turning up and, you know, being dedicated to the craft, getting yourself in on the nutrition grind. You know, Hamdy Abdelwahab here, step it up, man. I don't know what the hell's happening with this guy's life, but you know, if you're looking to actually be somebody in this heavyweight division, I'm going to need to see some serious improvements for you, because he has planted the seed of doubt in myself in that League of the Slam of the Week. But, you know, we've placed that bet. It is what it is. All I can hope is that, you know, he goes out here and beats the bag of mashed potatoes that is Chris Barnett. So I'm going to say Hamdy Abdelwahab goes out here and defeats Chris Barnett, but my confidence has been shook after looking at that weigh-in picture of him looking absolutely lackluster. That's what I'm going to say. Official prediction, Hamdy Abdelwahab by KO. Then we have Nathaniel Wood taking on Jose Miguel Delgado. Fun fact, you know, Jose Miguel Delgado was the last one to weigh in, and he did weigh in 1 pound over the featherweight limit at 147 pounds. Nathaniel Wood on the other side of that, you know, made the featherweight limit there. I will say his eye looked a little bit funny, and perhaps that was just, you know, needed to rehydrate or whatnot, but you know, he didn't exactly in the face look like he was really feeling himself. And, you know, I understand that cutting weight probably fucking sucks. So, you know, we'll see how he looks tomorrow when he turns up there. But Jose Delgado, I wish he had made the weight, you know, being a big guy, being the larger frame, 5'11". But when you're 1 pound out, I do believe this man tried and just truly couldn't make it, misjudged the weight cut. So I'm not going to knock him too hard for that. It's not like he was 3-4 pounds off. You know, he must have tried to get to the weight limit there. Nathaniel Wood is going to be my pick in this fight, and I'll tell you why. Jose Delgado is a fighter that is incredibly dangerous, 100% finish rate, absolute, you know, dangerous man, especially down here at featherweight where, you know, a lot of fights don't necessarily go to finish in these featherweight bouts. So Jose Delgado is an absolute finisher, and he's brought that finishing capability so far into his UFC run, especially over Haider Emil in his last matchup, where Haider Emil is shown to be historically very durable. But one thing I will say is that matchup is Haider Emil walks forward onto strikes. He comes forward, fist clench, his jaw on the center line, looking to get banged out. And that's exactly what Jose Delgado did. Is he took that knee, drove it into the chin of Haider Emil, and put that boy out in round one. Clean finish. I won't take anything away from him for that. But that ain't Nathaniel Wood, man. Nathaniel Wood is faster. He is more tactful. He can move. His footwork is fantastic. His ring generalship is fantastic. His takedowns are timely. And he also has sneaky power. The only thing I don't like about him is obviously the physical disadvantages. You know, he's only 5'6". He's going to be at a reach deficit. But I will say, having the speed advantage here and having that understanding of distance management and etc., I think that Nathaniel Wood's going to hold his own here, and I think that he is absolutely the best underdog on this card. So I'm taking Nathaniel Wood here to defeat Jose Miguel Delgado by either knockout or decision. Is going to be my official prediction for that bout. Then we have Valter Walker taking on Louie Sutherland. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, you know, referencing Hamdy Abdelwahab. We see the opposite here with Valter Walker, you know, makes his UFC debut. Ever since then has looked better and better physically, you know, coming there, tipping the 265 sort of mark, you know, on his debut, overweight, a bit lethargic, his cardio questionable. Now he cuts weight, you know, get down to 250, gets down to 245. He's going out there, he's finishing people in round one. He's finding submissions. He's looking like he's putting in the work both with the fork, you know, not smashing all that terrible food and putting the work in the gym. So Valter Walker, you know, credit to you. He's dedicated to the game at this point, only 29 years old. The future is bright. The other side of this coin is Louie Sutherland. Louie Sutherland is coming off of a steroid suspension, I do believe, or at least getting popped for steroids. You can see other pictures of him in regional promotions where he is jacked up, you know, big traps on the fella. His biceps and shoulders are looking a lot more striated. We just saw him weigh in today, and he did the same motion. There were no veins. There was no jacked aesthetic coming there from Louie Sutherland. You really got to question how much of that was the steroids here. So we'll see if he's feeling himself or not, coming off the steroids. I imagine it's got to be a bit of a blow mentally, not just physically, but when you think to yourself, man, I'm jacked up, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm a destroyer, when you're all on these roids, roided up. And then you come in here, no longer on the roids, and you've got to, make those gains yourself, and then you're knowing I'm coming in here a little bit more doughy. I don't necessarily have that cardio that I had and all the rest of it. Do you start to question yourself? And I think that's something that's going to play out here if this fight goes long. I think Valter Walker, knows I've done the work, I've been out there. I've been doing hill sprints. I've been putting in the work on the mats. I've been working with my striking coaches. I am here to fucking win. So give me Valter Walker here. He's only a 3-1 favorite. I think that's justified. I expect him to go out here and win inside the distance. And a sneaky suspicion of mine is that despite wearing a foot at weigh-ins, I think he's going to come out here and look for a knockout. So give me Valter Walker to win this fight inside the distance. I'm leaning by knockout. Then we have Ludovit Klein taking on Mateus Rebecki. I will say this right now. These two gentlemen looked absolutely outstanding at weigh-ins. They looked like the picture of health. Mateus Rebecki came out there, the cool rose-tinted shades, looking like he was Elton John or something in his prime. And then Ludovit Klein came out there, always, Senor Perfecto, Mr. Highlight coming out there. They both looked absolutely aesthetic AF. And I like both these gentlemen very much. I hope that this fight's a banger. I hope that it's not an absolute grapple fest. And I don't say that saying I hate grappling, but I would love to see what happens when these two get after it and have a striking war, because that would just be so much fun as a fan. If I was to tell you guys who I want to win, right? Bets aside, all the money in the world aside, I'm going to say it's Mateus Rebecki. I don't know what it is about the guy. I have a special place in my heart for him. Maybe it's because he's a fucking warrior, but I want to see Mateus Rebecki go out here and go on a run. I'm not talking just this fight. Go out here. I liked when he was a destroyer, kicking out Loic Radzhabov's legs, destroying Roosevelt Roberts. I want to see Mateus Rebecki go out here and just annihilate some people, and that would have to start here with Ludovit Klein. But money included, guys, I'm going Ludovit Klein by knockout. I've just seen Mateus Rebecki get too hit, too beat up, and I haven't seen him have the grappling success that I need to believe that he's going to be able to emulate a game plan similarly to a Mateusz Gamrot. So I'm going to go Ludovit Klein here to get the better of the striking and stop enough of the takedowns of Mateus Rebecki and find himself a finish or win by decision. Then we have Ikram Aliskerov. Guys, this man has a beard and no mustache, so he's going to win. Look at this. Beard, no mustache. It means he's going to win. No, all jokes aside, guys, here. Junyong Park is an incredibly durable fighter. I love this guy to pieces, and I was on the fence about who I was going to pick in this matchup here. Ultimately, I did side with Ikram Aliskerov, and I came to the conclusion that not only am I picking Ikram Aliskerov, but he's going to finish Junyong Park. And basically what it came down to is you look through the resumes here and people want to say Ikram Aliskerov has beaten nobodies. Well, who has Junyong Park beaten? You go back. With enough time, you can sort of weed out the victories that count and the victories that don't. Even his last victory, if it wasn't for that potential illegal knee stoppage, Junyong Park was probably on his way to getting finished. Obviously he rallied late after that long extended time to come back and all the rest of it, but in this matchup here, I think Ikram Aliskerov is going to be too much, too heavy, almost anywhere this fight goes. So give me Ikram Aliskerov to make light work of Junyong Park, and I think that he's one of the best bets on the card. Initially, I was leaning towards the dog. I saw the light. I'm going Ikram Aliskerov. A beard and no mustache in Abu Dhabi, probably going to come out with Khabib Nurmagomedov in his corner. What more can you say? Then we have Nasrat Haqparast taking on Quillan Salkilld. Guys, this is where the fun and the party is going to absolutely begin. Quillan Salkilld is an all-action fighter here. He does mix in takedowns. At 6 feet tall, he's not one of those just rangy strikers where he's not going to get after it. This dude will come to bang. He has front kicks to the face. He has those long, reaching right hands, and he also has grappling to match as well. He's taking on Nasrat Haqparast. This guy seems to be built for war. He is going to split decision to split decision to split decision. He just seems to want to go to the absolute depths of hell and back, and you can see that physically he's coming into this fight very much in shape. I question potentially steroids, but we will see. You know, perhaps he's just got a really good nutritionist or pharmacist, you know what I mean? But Nasrat Haqparast all of a sudden looking very jacked. He's coming in here. I think he's going to have somewhat of the home advantage here, considering he's from Morocco. Quillan Salkilld all the way from the other side of the fucking planet, like myself. He is from Australia, you know, the brother nation of New Zealand. I'm going to go with Quillan Salkilld here. It's probably some bias because, you know, I did watch this man body Anshul Jubli about 100 meters in front of me in an arena, you know, so I'm going to say Quillan Salkilld gets it done here. If you want to say sprinkle a bias there, then so be it. I do have some official action on this as well. Then we have, to start off the main card, Azamat Mirzakhanov taking on Aleksandar Rakic. And guys, Aleksandar Rakic looked like he was in phenomenal shape, and he seemed to be feeling himself. I don't know what it is. The way that this man was standing at the weigh-ins there, he did a little sign like this or something. Maybe it was this. Maybe, I don't know, he's doing a little snake charmer or something. The man looks like he is feeling himself beyond no end. And I really like that. I think that this is a winnable matchup for him. Azamat Mirzakhanov has a lot of physical disadvantages. You know, he is older. He has the reach disadvantage, you know, the height disadvantage, all the rest of it. Aleksandar Rakic has a lot going for him here, other than momentum, which is all on the side of Azamat Mirzakhanov. You know, 15-0, 11 of those wins by way of knockout. This dude is a savage here, and I can't overlook him. But at the price point here, I'm going to side with the bigger man, the younger man. I'm going to side with Aleksandar Rakic here to utilize his range and to be able to fight along the outside here and stop Azamat Mirzakhanov from advancing and finding the knockout here. So I'm going to go with Aleksandar Rakic to win this fight, potentially even find a finish. But I think he's going to hand Azamat Mirzakhanov his first L. Then we have Aleksandar Volkov taking on Jailton Almeida. Guys, Aleksandar Volkov is a tremendous individual. 6'7", Russian, you know, almost 50 fights. This dude is huge, 80-inch reach, big old boy, big kickboxing background, and he's developing his grappling game. I don't think it makes a goddamn difference here. I think Jailton Almeida is special as far as this division is concerned, as far as the grappling in this division is concerned. If he can take down Curtis Blades 10 times in round one, he's definitely going to be able to take down Aleksandar Volkov. My only concern here is if he hangs out a little too long for a striking match. Jailton Almeida is a fantastic grappler, but, you know, if he's entertaining and wanting to say, oh, look at me, I can strike, that could be a concern because Volkov does possess enough traits that he could give him some issues. And I don't want to see Jailton Almeida, you know, bleeding out the nose or mouth and then shooting for a takedown. I want him to get after it. I want him to get after it early while they're both dry and solidify a position on top of Aleksandar Volkov to drain the big man's energy. Give me Jailton Almeida to win this fight inside the distance. I think he needs to get the takedown early, though, to really, you know, change the energy transfer in this fight. So Jailton Almeida to win, high confidence pick. I don't know why the fuck I ever picked Slamdy, aka Hamdy Abdelwahab, to pair with this guy because Hamdy turned up looking like a goddamn slob. Then we have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Bautista. Guys, I've said it once. I'll say it again. Look at Umar, handsome guy, a beard with no mustache. He's going to win. No, all jokes aside, this is Khabib Nurmagomedov's, you know, one of his prodigies here, a family member of his. He's going to be cornering him here in Abu Dhabi. And this is all but a layup. And I'm not saying that Mario Bautista is a bad fighter and that this is a cherry-pick matchup. I'm saying Umar Nurmagomedov in Abu Dhabi with Khabib in the corner, that is a deadly, deadly combination here. And coming off of the harsh loss that he had, I imagine this training camp was fucking brutal. I imagine they got after Umar Nurmagomedov and said, oh, you had some cardio issues last time? We're fixing those. You're about to be doing triple what you were doing before. Oh, your hand was broken? Let's see you crack everything constantly to make sure that hand is strengthened. I expect Umar Nurmagomedov to come in here forged by iron, and I expect him to go out here and smash Mario Bautista. He's going to utilize every facet of MMA, and I expect him to potentially even knock him out or submit him. So give me Umar Nurmagomedov to win this fight. I think he's going to win every round, if not find a finish. Then we have Werner Jandiroba against Mackenzie Dern. It's co-main event time already. Look, Werner Jandiroba is not exactly the most pretty individual that I've ever seen. Does she look like Rob Schneider? Probably. Okay. Is she 37 years old and looks like she's 42? Also, probably. Does she have a loss to Mackenzie Dern? Yes. Is there anything going for her? I'll tell you what, right? Mackenzie Dern is an active grappler. She's a good fighter in her own right. But Virna Jandiroba is less attractive than Mackenzie Dern and has less appeal. And you might be thinking, Betsam, have you just lost your goddamn mind? What does that have to do with fighting? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do with fighting, right? Mackenzie Dern is going to be all right, regardless of whether she wins or loses the next 5 to 10 fights. Because she has built herself up as a brand. People want to pay for her to be around. She could be a model, for fuck's sake. She could be all sorts of things. People are happy to her around. She's pretty. They want to interview her. They want to talk to her. Virna Jandiroba, unless she is winning fights, I don't know that her monetary value is going to go up in this space, because she doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the chat. She doesn't have the appeal. So Virna Jandiroba, I expect if this fight gets tough, she says, I'm fucking going to win this shit because this is her last chance. 37 years old. She's already lost this matchup before. If she loses to Mackenzie Dern twice, say goodbye to title pictures. Say goodbye to those big highlight matchups and those big cards where you might make some money. For Virna Jandiroba, I think this is going to be absolutely everything. And so I think she's going to go out here and rectify the loss. And Virna Jandiroba is going to spend enough time in top control or find a submission. Give me Jandiroba to win this women's strawweight title bout and make good on her UFC dream. Then we have Tommy Aspinall taking on Cyril Gane for the heavyweight title bout. And guys, this is going to be a little trip down memory lane, okay? I once used to just Google heavyweight fights. And I'm talking like years and years ago. I was a little kid. Back once I had YouTube early on days, I would watch Kimbo Slice fights in the backyard. I would just watch people that fought in the street and it was filmed, okay? I wanted to see the big boys go at it. And that's what we have here. Two of the largest, fantastic MMA fighters at this time period to go head-to-head. This isn't two guys and one's past their prime and all the rest of it. These are two guys at the right point in time fighting each other. They're two of the best in the division. The only other person that I would say, that should have been in here other than a Cyril Gane might have been a Jailton Almeida, but I'm happy enough with this matchup. Does it matter, though? Guys, the reason it's probably not going to matter is because, we have so much knowledge here on both sides. Tom Aspinall, 32 years old, England-born heavyweight champion of the world, arguably the most gifted heavyweight to have ever graced the octagon. Certainly, if you are talking about hand speed and agility, he is absolutely number one. It is not even close. And if you want to contest me on that, let me know in the comments, right? He is 8-1 inside the UFC, with his only loss coming by way of freak knee injury against Curtis Blades. He has a 100% finish rate inside of the UFC with only one bout leaving the first round, and that was against Andrei Arlovski, and he finished him in the second round. He is versatile with both submissions and grappling ability, as well as his incredibly dangerous striking with excellent low kicks. He works that lead leg early in fights, then comes upstairs with the hands. He has that power jab that can stun you, and a right hand that can put down a goddamn elephant. He takes on that French kickboxer, Cyril Gane. He's 35 years old, 6'4". He's light on his toes. He uses his athletic gifts to avoid danger in his fights and styles on his opponents. He uses in and out movement and kicks from the outside. In pure striking matches, he could defeat anyone on any given day. However, when grappling and takedowns are mixed in, he can become hesitant and spend extended periods of time in bottom position. We have seen this both in the Volkov fight and the Francis Ngannou fight. Cyril Gane was notably a teammate and training partner of former heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. He made his debut in UFC just 1 year into his mixed martial arts career, where he racked up 7 wins in quick succession and found himself in a title fight against former training partner Ngannou, where he lost by decision in what I believe was a competitive fight. Gane then bounced back by defeating Tai Tuivasa via KO in the third round. And I want to talk about that matchup specifically, Cyril Gane and Tai Tuivasa, because you watch that, Cyril Gane is doing a lot of this, right? He moves like this, moves like that, puts his arm up like this, and he uses his physical gifts to just get out of the way of these heavyweights. But these heavyweights don't have the speed and the danger that Tom Aspinall possesses. And that's why I wanted to really put a fine point on that fight specifically. After that win over Tai Tuivasa, he was gifted another title shot, that time against the greatest of all time, John Jones, where he, was taken down and submitted in a little over 2 minutes. But honestly, it felt like less than that. Since that loss, he is now riding a 2-fight win streak over Sergey Spivak and Alexander Volkov. However, the Volkov decision was suspect at best, considering even the UFC staff admitted they felt like Volkov deserved to get the nod. I had money on Ciryl Gane. I made over $400 by Ciryl Gane getting the nod here. I think he lost that fight. Ciryl Gane is a fun fighter to watch. He defeats the lower tier of UFC heavyweights that are slow and can't find him while he's using that head movement and that footwork, but that is not who he has in front of him. He is one of the fastest and most dangerous men that has ever walked this earth, and I believe he falls victim to the seemingly unstoppable hand speed of Tom Aspinall somewhere in the first 2 rounds. Give me Tommy Aspinall to make good on the title defense. I think he wins this fight inside the distance. Guys, that is the breakdown. And if you want to unlock my picks, my bets, my round line leans and more, Angelo's bets, Jacob's bets, Adam's articles, and our AI tools, there are so many tools and more on We Want Picks. It is only $10 a month. The value is legitimately insane. The link to sign up is in the description. What are you waiting for? It's $10 a month. Sign up today. WeWantPicks.com/BetSam. Code BetSam for 10% off. I will see you there. Let's enjoy the fights. Thank you all for watching.